Good afternoon, friends. Stephen Ben-Nun here with our friends here on Patreon and Bigfoot. Not so much the Bigfoot movies, not interested in that, but I wanted to share something with you that had been shared with me recently, and that is that it is known by the government that the Bigfoot creatures are on the move. They are moving from the west to the east, and they're not really sure why they're doing that. Been trying to figure it out. We do have one of these creatures in captivity, but he has not been willing to reveal why they're moving from west to east. But there is a suspicion that the reason they're doing it is because of a calamity that is coming to the west coast. And so we're watching out for that as well to see what's going on there. And of course, I know everybody's more concerned because of La Palma and our East Coast. But for some reason, these creatures are moving west to east. Speaking of that, let me just mention another thing as well. Those of you have been hearing a lot of the rumors coming out that June Knight had been saying that she was angry. She moved to Tennessee because Steve said there were asteroids coming that was going to destroy everything, and that this is the reason why she moved to Tennessee and kind of wish she had stayed in Atlanta. I do want to just set the record straight on that for those of you that may have heard that. That's completely false. I've always said when it comes to asteroids, doesn't matter where you live. You could live here in Tennessee and get wiped out by asteroids as far as that goes. But the issue is the only thing that's ever been an issue when it comes to rising waters and being in a higher elevation has more to do with the New Madrid fault line, or the United States being split by something like that that would cause a major catastrophic event for the entire globe. And that would really be a cause of concern, mainly for people that live more near the coastlines. People that live in Atlanta, though, even with that, would not have a problem. So there was no need to move from Atlanta as a result of any of those issues. However, I always recommended and thought it's better to live in the country and away from popular civilizations, especially where they were living at the time, because of being right there in the suburbs of Atlanta, and that is far more risky. But it was never my sayings that caused them to move. I think that to set the record straight, and I'm sure Brock could help people to know this for a fact as well. Brock and his wife had shared with me that God had led him to a piece of property in southern Tennessee, that God had laid it on his heart that was the property that he was to buy. And I know he has not ever purchased that particular property that was for sale, but he still ended up moving very close to where that property was. And that's why they're in southern Tennessee, just outside of Chattanooga. And it was because Brock had felt on his heart that's where God wanted him to be. Now, back then, Brock's mom was living with him. And so when him and his wife moved, she didn't have much choice but to move as well. She couldn't stay in the house by herself, so she had to move as well. And she ended up moving herself up there. But it had nothing, June Knight had nothing to do with moving because I said asteroids are going to strike in Atlanta, Georgia, or anything like that. That's totally false. And it's just kind of sad how rumors get started like that. But I figured I'd just kind of set the record straight here on that issue. If you've heard that, that's the truth about the matter. Now I have talked about these things coming. Have been told that that we've got 3 that are very high risk, but also I've constantly said too that they are working on trying to break these up. I haven't heard any words lately. Been kind of quiet lately on some of the people that I know up there, but things are supposed to be pretty rocky from what I hear, regardless, and they have been told about that they're going to take and put out news clips and things like that, that they're going to try to target asteroids to destroy them, etc. I found it kind of really interesting that that NASA spoke about November 23rd. They're going to try to target a particular large asteroid. From what I understand, that's probably going to be the asteroid that they had anticipated an impact from. So if they're planning on targeting it and trying to shoot it down from the Earth, they may very well be successful. And if so, then we won't have an impact in the first place. The two that are the most concerned that I was told about was the subduction zone, as well as one hitting off the coast of Puerto Rico somewhere. So, still though, not as I've been told, these were not extinction level events by no means, but wherever they hit, they would cause a tremendous amount of damage. That's really the main thing I've been told on that. Secondly, also, I was told that 80% of the asteroids that would be falling, which it was actually late October, which we're already at the end of October now, 80% of those would be hitting the oceans. They would not be hitting the land, which I've already made that clear a little while back. So we'll just have to see what happens here in late November. And of course, any updates I can get, I will definitely pass those along. Like I said, we're really hoping that they're going to be able to break them up, steer them off course, whatever the case may be. They were successful with several other large ones that were supposed to impact the Earth this year that were knocked off course. And also, I think one of those was destroyed. So we may find the same thing once again, and that's the kind of news that we're looking for. So just wanted to update you guys on that, share those things with you. Anyway, I'm Stephen Ben-Nun with Israeli News Live. Blessings.